Hey, I just wanted to record a quick video about authenticity. Obviously, a lot of us are trying to be as authentic and clear as possible with our clients and our customers and communities in a landscape that is changing all the time, that has very different, just everything is different day to day, even still maybe 2 or 3 weeks into this. So a lot of us are communicating, and it sometimes really works. We're very authentic. It's great. We're, coming across as ourselves and our companies and really hitting the mark. And then sometimes it doesn't work and it seems hollow and doesn't really have any effect. What I'm seeing is a commonality between the communications that come off as being hollow and inauthentic is that they're using something called the voice of authority. And you probably got taught this. Maybe it was called the voice of authority when people taught it to you. Maybe it was just how you were supposed to talk to clients and customers. But people my age and older, when we were coming up in our careers, especially if we had communications elements in our positions, we were told that we had to speak with the voice of authority to our clients and customers. This means that we're never wrong. This means that we don't apologize. This means that we don't say things like, we don't know. All of that is total bullshit in this climate. The thing is, we are probably going to be wrong at some point in time. We're probably going to have stuff to apologize for. And there's a lot we don't know. And if we're walking around pretending that we do know, we're not coming across as authentic. In fact, we come across as suspect and maybe even a little manic because we're so ridiculously cheerful in the middle of a global pandemic. That's bananas. I myself have been guilty of this, and one of the reasons I am so wary of it today is because of the ramifications of this. I obviously like to be a positive person. I like to communicate with people in, positive, helpful tones when I'm talking to my community, even and especially in the middle of a huge crisis. I ask myself, is this information going to make this person feel better or worse? And if the information will make the person feel worse, I'm as clear as possible. I make sure that the person got what that means for them. And then I stop talking about it and start talking about positive things. That's a fine exercise. But to be relentlessly upbeat is suspicious behavior. It just is. We are all being affected by COVID. We're all being affected by the economic and market shifts that are happening right now and that will continue to happen. We're all being affected by the news cycle. It's not very positive out there. And to speak as if we're not being affected by those things just doesn't ring true to anyone right now. So when you're talking to your community, no matter where you are in your career, in your industry, it's very important to rely on truth, be tactful, and don't lie or dissemble. Rely on your knowledge, your experience, and your observations. We all have knowledge, experience, and observations, even if we're young in career or we don't have expertise that perhaps we want to have right now. It is okay to share something you do know or something you are observing. Those are very important things, and we're all going to have to work together to figure out what this new landscape means for all of us. That means not acting like you've got it all together when you don't. Not acting like you know everything about something you're observing when you don't. You can say things like, this is what I'm observing, this is what I think it means. This is what I know, this is my experience. All of my years of crisis communications has not prepared me for COVID-19. I mean, it has. It's definitely made it easier for me to rally and speak to the truth and, figure out how to talk to people and find who I need to talk to when I need to talk to them. But this is a completely different issue than any other crisis I've dealt with. Therefore, it requires me to think on my feet and acknowledge the things I don't know. As long as I pretend I know everything about something, I'm not going to be learning about it, and I'm not going to be as good as I could be in that situation. Some people, I think, who are doing a great job at the authentic communication bit right now is Amy Sample Ward from N10. N10 stands for the Nonprofit Technology Education Network. And she wrote a blog post called Technology Will Not Save Us. And if you want to read something that talks about harsh truths in a kind way and makes you feel so much better after you've read it, check that article out. I'm going to link it down below. I want you also to post in the comments, who is doing authenticity well right now? Who do you feel like is just really getting it? because I want us all to be able to acknowledge that, yeah, it's scary to say that you don't know something. It's scary to acknowledge that you're not being as productive as you want to, or that you're not hitting the goals you set in January or December or November. And it's also okay. This is a completely unprecedented event, and we all have to be as honest and authentically ourselves as possible. It's the diversity of humanity that saves us time after time after time. We all respond to stuff like this totally differently. And if we all just act like we're totally fine during this period of time, the gifts of our natural diversity and response is going to be hidden, and it's not going to be taken advantage of. And humanity as a whole will be worse for it. That's kind of a negative place to end, but it's the truth. The world needs your authentic self right now, not someone you think you should be just because someone else taught you to do that or someone else told you that's who you should be right now. Bye.